Alright guys, what's going on and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to do, the most controversial video of the year, the ladder predictions video. It's going to be spicy, this one. I don't think it's too spicy. I think some of the predictions that I've made aren't going to be like, whoa. But there'll be a few that could cause a bit of ruckus in the comments, but who knows. Anyway, I'm not going to try to keep this video too long, so let's get straight into it. These are my 2024 AFL ladder predictions. Alright, yeah, let's just jump straight into it. I don't know what I'm going to say about, all these teams and why I've placed them where they are, but we'll just see how it goes. May as well. Alright, we're going to start from 18th and work our way up to top spot. So coming in at 18th spot, who I believe will get 18th this year, is the West Coast Eagles. I sort of said it in my other predictions video where I predicted like the Brownlow and all that. The West Coast Eagles are going to be a very young side who are still learning this year, who are, still going to be working on their game plan and getting it correct with all these young players and young talents that they've got in their side. So they're still in their, developing sort of era at the moment. So yeah, I don't think they're going to win too many games. I'm sure they'll win a game, here and there throughout the season, and they may shock a few sides. But yeah, I think the West Coast Eagles are in that, spot of development and are going to come 18th this year. Moving on to 17th. This may come as a shock, but it's sort of the same reason as the Eagles. I've got the Tigers coming in 17th. This year. I don't know what else to say, but I feel like they're going to be developing a little bit this year as well. They did pretty well though, in fairness, in their practice matches. They did lose both of their practice matches, but they did alright. Yeah, I feel like this year is going to be the year where the Tigers sort of like maybe rebuild, but maybe like, just like I sort of said for the Eagles, work on their game plan a lot. They've got a lot of, younger people in their side as well. They've still got some exceptional talents in their side though, like Taranto, Hopper and all that. But yeah, I feel like this year the Tigers are going to drop down a little bit. I'm sure they'll win a few games. We saw them win a few games last year. Yeah, I feel like, they've got sort of a new mix in their side that's going to have to, get used to the, Tigers way of things. But yeah, I think the Tigers are going to come 17th this year. I could be completely wrong. It's just a ladder prediction video. Who knows? Yeah, I've got the Tigers coming 17th this year. 16th place, I've put the Gold Coast Suns. It's always hard to predict where the Gold Coast Suns are going to finish because they could either be really good throughout the season or be pretty average. And I just feel like they're going to have another sort of average year. It could be one of those years, again, where the Gold Coast start really well throughout the year and then only, come home with a few wins. I mean, last year they lost to North Melbourne in their last game. So that really showed that they were still, sort of that average side where, they just start off well and then sort of, deplete towards the end of the season. So I don't know how the Suns are going to look this year. Going through their practice matches, they looked okay, but they still looked like that sort of average side where you just don't know what they're going to look like. So I don't know. I've got the Gold Coast sitting at 16th at the end of the season. Year. 15th spot, I've got North Melbourne, which may be a little bit of a shock to you guys, but I feel like you can sort of agree with me that North Melbourne, throughout their practice games and throughout sort of a few games last year, they were heading in the right direction. And I feel like if they can, stay sort of injury free and if they can, really work on their game plan this year and if they can, listen to Clarko, because Clarko's a bloody ripper of a coach, then they could finish a little bit higher this year. Not too much higher, but a little bit higher than what they finished in their past, I don't know, maybe 3 previous years. But yeah, I've got North Melbourne finishing 15th. I feel like they're just going to be a little bit of a different side this year where they'll challenge a lot of sides this year and play some decent footy. Yeah, I've got North in 15th this year. 14th spot, I've got Hawthorn this year. I feel like the Hawks, they played pretty decently towards the back end of last year, so hopefully they can carry that momentum from the back end of last year into this year. And yeah, I've got them finishing 14th this year. You know, they're going to have a little bit of a different side. They won't have Kaczynski in their side anymore, but I'm sure that won't worry them. They've still got a pretty decent forward line. They've added Jack Ginnivan into their forward line, and their midfield. You know, I know it's a young midfield, but it's still a decent looking midfield as well. Their backline may be, you know, the worrying part, but they've still got some decent backline players in there as well. So I've got Hawthorn finishing 14th this season. Next up, in 13th spot, I've got the Fremantle Dockers finishing 13th this year. I feel like, yeah, they're just going to be a mid-side table this year. I don't know. I really can't see them finishing towards the top 8. I feel like it's just going to be a roller coaster of a season for Fremantle this season, and I feel like the fans are going to feel that as well. Who knows, they could shock me and finish in the top 8, but I feel like it's going to be sort of an up and down season where they collect a few good wins but have a few odd losses along the way. So yeah, I've got Fremantle, finishing 13th this season. Next up, I've got the Cats finishing 12th this season. Yeah, I do feel like they're going to finish outside the top 8. You know, they've sort of got a different squad this year. Obviously, they had, you know, a few retire last year, but they've definitely got a different squad this year. But, you know, they've got a mix of young and old in there, which could help them along the way, but I can't see them finishing in the top 8. I feel like the teams that I've got in front of the Cats are going to, well, obviously, because I've got them in front of Geelong, I feel like the teams that I've got in front of the Cats are going to play a little bit better than Geelong this year. So yeah, I'm putting the Cats in 12th spot as that sort of close to the top 8, but sort of close to the mid-table mix as well. Next up, I've got Essendon coming 11th this year. I don't think the Bombers will make the finals this year. Sorry to say, Bombers fans. But yeah, I feel like that they, like Fremantle, I feel like they're going to have a roller coaster season this year, Essendon. I feel like it's going to be just up and down throughout the whole season. There could be a few spots of consistency in their season where they pick up a few wins like consistently, but I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be up and down for the Bombers this year. And until they can get, you know, consistently good and have consistent wins throughout the season, I don't think they'll make the top 8. But yeah, I've got the Bombers finishing 11th, close to the top 8 this season. Next up, I've got Port Adelaide in the 10th spot. It's a hard spot. It's a hard picking to get into the top 8 this year. There's so many teams that I think that can make the top 8, and I don't know. I feel like Port Adelaide are just gonna miss out. Like Port Adelaide last year, yes, they were very good. But I don't know. It's something. I just feel like they'll sort of drop off this season, and there'll be teams that will fight to get into the top 8 that will just make the top 8 ahead of Port Adelaide. But I don't know. I could just be talking out of my arsehole here, but yeah, I've got Port Adelaide finishing 10th this season. I don't know. They could finish top 8. They've got the power to do so. No pun intended. But yeah, I just see them missing out on the top 8 this year. Just. Talking about just missing out on the top 8, I've got Sydney finishing 9th spot. I know. It's just a whole re-ravel from last year. But I've got Sydney finishing in 9th spot to miss the finals this year just by one place. They've got the talent to make the 8, but I feel like the teams in front of them, they played very decent in the off-season, the teams in front of them. And I just feel like the teams in front of them are, like I said for Geelong, are going to play a little bit better than the Swannies this year and finish in front of the Swans just in a close top 8 race. Next up, we've got my 8th spot prediction. Now we're heading into the top 8. I've got St Kilda to finish 8th spot this season. They looked pretty decent in the off-season and in their practice matches as well. You know, if their forward line can stay fit this season as well, it will be very dangerous. They've already got a very decent midfield, the Saints, and you know they've added Liam Henry in there as well, who can be a very good spark for them in their forward line as well. So yeah, I've got the Saints to make the top 8 in this for this season. In 7th spot, I've got the Western Bulldogs to finish 7th this year. I feel like it's just going to be another one of those seasons where they're going to try to make top 4, but you know they'll have a few losses along the way at the back end of the season, and it will inevitably put them down in the top 8, and yeah, that's why I've got them finishing 7th this year. In 6th spot, I've got the Adelaide Crows, just missing out on the finals last year. I feel like that's going to drive them this year to make the top 8. So yeah, I put them in 6th spot this year. I feel like they're going to sort of maybe build a fortress at the Adelaide Oval this year and win a few games that will put them into the top 8. So yeah, I've got the Crows finishing 6th this season. In 5th spot, I've got Carlton to finish 5th this season. It was tough for me to decide who was going to be that sort of 1st to 5th spot this year. Yeah, I've got Carlton finishing 5th this year. I don't think they'll make the top 4, but I think they'll be high up there in the 5th to 6th spot again. It's a tough one to pick, but yeah, I'd put Carlton there in 5th spot, but I wouldn't be shocked if they made top 4 this season. In 4th spot, I've got Melbourne to finish 4th. I've liked what I've seen from Melbourne during the off season and in their pracky matches. And yeah, they've definitely got a decent side rolling into this season on paper. So I've got the D's to make 4th spot this year, but it could be anyone's game. Like I said, it could be like I said, Carlton could make the top 4, and I wouldn't be shocked. And it could be a swap. It could be Carlton in 4th spot, Melbourne in 5th. It's very hard to pick 4th and 5th on the ladder. It's very hard to pick the whole bloody ladder and get it correct. So yeah, but yeah, I'm going Melbourne top 4 and 4th place this season. In 3rd spot, I've got the GWS Giants to come 3rd this year. They've got a very good squad rolling into this season. They looked very good in their practice matches. They smashed the Suns. Like I said before, literally, they've got a good squad rolling into this year. Yeah, and if they can just get everything right, if they can get their game plan right throughout the whole of the season, not just parts of the season, throughout the whole season, they will look very dangerous, the Orange Tsunami this season. So yeah, I've got the Giants at the 3rd spot for this season. In 2nd spot, I've got the Brisbane Lions coming 2nd this year. I do feel like it's going to be a fight between us and the Lions this year for 1st and 2nd spot. Obviously, the Lions have got that they've got that fortress up at the Gabba that will help them, push them further up the ladder. And if they can win a few away games, which I think they will this season, it could take them to 1st, but I've got them finishing 2nd because in 1st spot, I've got my Pies to finish on top of the ladder. I feel like I said it sort of in the other video. I said that I feel like being the hunted, we will accept being the hunted coming into this season as a new challenge, and Craig McRae will maybe take us to, another high this season. And yeah, but I've got us finishing 1st spot. I feel like, we'll obviously play a lot of games at the MCG. It's hard not to when you're a Melbourne club. So yeah, I feel like that's going to help us as well, playing a lot of games at the MCG, and hopefully we can pick up a few wins at the G. And even away games, we do like playing interstate as well, whether it's Adelaide or in WA. I feel like we just love the challenge of playing away as well, and we'll pick up a few wins away as well as home. And yeah, it will see us finishing 1st on the ladder, but it's just a ladder predictions video. I don't have the bloody key to who's going to finish 1st and 18th and all that. It's just a prediction. It's just based on opinion. It is what it is. Take it as you will. Take it as a grain of salt. I'm only an AFL. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm only a bloody AFL YouTuber who supports Collingwood. So it is what it is, but those are my ladder predictions for this year. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in another video hopefully soon. And yeah, cheers guys.